Ah, yes, the guy who does spiritual talks with a cat on his lap. I'm very fortunate. Hey, the sub theme for today is every problem has a solution. It's a good mantra. Every problem has a solution. There's no problem that could possibly appear that, whether it's collective or individual, that doesn't come automatically factory installed with the solution. Every problem has a solution. It's a different way of thinking rather than every problem is insurmountable and will probably chop me down and ruin the rest of my life. That's another way of thinking. There was a very funny Saturday Night Live skit. Golly, it must be 25 or 30 years ago, but just had so many different eras and so many stupid skits. But this one was, what if the Romans had had a Piper Cub airplane? So there was two Romans in Roman garb from, I don't know, 2,000 years ago, flying around in a Piper Cub, dropping bombs on their enemies. And as absurd as it is, it begs the question. It's like, why didn't the Greeks figure out the telephone, and why didn't the Romans come up with the automobile, and how come it took us so long to come up with the um, motion pictures and the phonograph and the telephone and the radio? Why did it take so long? Those answers were there in potential, but it took slow, patient progress of a lot of humans working together over a very long period of time. But there was this feeling inside of all humans that every problem has a solution and that every limitation is a temporary constraint. Why would we have come up with the telephone, the dream of talking to somebody else in a faraway land uh, in real time? Why would we come up with air travel, the dream of being a bird and being able to go 30,000 feet in the sky and go to Europe in one day rather than sailing around the world and possibly dying of scurvy? So our collective has always understood that every problem has a solution. Now, when we begin to adopt that attitude mentally and individually in our own lives, we see that every problem we could ever face is simply a stepping stone to a transformation and a realization inside of us that we can solve any problem that we could face. Now, these technical problems of talking to people far away or going up into the sky, these are worldly, technical, logistical concerns. Perhaps even a larger, more profound problem to solve are the problems of psyche or emotion that really do influence the quality of our life. And this is one way this week's topic of humility can really take root in our life, because if we're in an emotional situation or a psychological situation, the things that really hamper us and degrade the quality of our life, grief, sadness, depression, fear, worry, dread, resentment, these are problems that have a solution, but we have to flesh them out. And we have to realize, well, first, this problem has a solution, and then we have to go about seeking it. And the number one obstacle in finding a solution is to think that the solution doesn't exist or that the problem is somehow outside of ourselves. When we think that a problem is outside of ourselves through a condition or a cause or a person, a place, a thing, a government, then we're oppressed. And while we may feel justified in thinking that the cause of the problem is somehow outside of ourselves, we can think that way, but the solution will never come. Or if it does come, it'll come extremely slowly rather than figuring something out, an aha, those aha moments. So as we cultivate this attitude of every problem has a solution, not only do we solve emotional, psychological problems that improve the quality of our life, but think of it this way. Every time any one of us individually solves a problem, we make it easier for everyone else that comes after us to solve the same problem. For example, if inside of our own psyche we solve habits of emotionality or familial traits, or say in your family you overcome uh, rage and anger, well, then everybody that follows you, it's easier for them. And sometimes we ask, what's my purpose? What's my destiny in life? How can I really, truly, honestly affect the whole by taking whatever problem we have and finding the solution? But because we're all connected, by finding the solution, one person in one family that overcomes addiction, that overcomes anger, one person that overcomes a depressive mentality or hopelessness, one person that overcomes scarcity or poverty, they make it easier for everyone in their family tree for hundreds of generations forward. And so we may not have thought of the airplane, but you might be the person in your family that thought of overcoming scarcity or addiction or depression or feeling morose or being neurotic or any one of the hundred things that we could go to work on and solve right now if we truly realized and operated from every problem has a solution. And in humility and getting out of my own way, I will find that solution. All right, I'll see you.